Hi, everybody. Welcome. This session, we are going to go over everything you need to know about handling exhibits in a remote deposition. My name is Linda Hagen, and I'm the National Director of Reporter Relations for U.S. Legal Support. This session will run about an hour, so hold on and pay attention because there's a lot of information we're going to go over. If you have questions, please feel free to enter those questions in the box. We will attempt to do some Q&A at the end if we have time. We will then review all the questions that are submitted, and we will develop a FAQ, and this session is also being recorded, so we will have all of that available for all of you as well. So in this session, what we're going to do is drill down through the steps of exhibits, receiving them, setup recommendations, naming conventions, handling exhibits, marking, submitting, technical support that will be available, resource tips, and some best practices. So what I have is an exhibit instructional guide. I'm going to go through that and use that, and then also I'm going to be demonstrating a lot of the steps to doing the stamps and submitting the exhibit. So let's bring that up. Okay. Make sure, alrighty, there it is. So this is our remote depo exhibit guide for reporters. So the first thing that we want to mention is that as a U.S. Legal Support reporter, you will continue to submit your job files the same exact way, right? So I just want to make sure everybody realizes that your exhibits will be different, the way you submit them, but your jobs, you'll still submit your YTG files, your worksheet, and any other applicable forms. Then, but on your email to production and your worksheet, we would ask that you please let them know which method you're using to submit the exhibits. So that information will be going through in detail as we go along. Okay. So the first thing that you want to do is before your deposition begins, you want to make sure that you create a folder on your desktop. And I'm going to demonstrate that, but also show you these instructions. So it's a good way to get organized. So if you create for your exhibits a folder with the job number and the witness name, that's going to really help you when you start downloading exhibits, or if they're emailed, you'll download them, and then you'll be able to just submit the folder, right? So here's the instructions. They're in here. There's also a link that I've provided for those that want to go through some other detailed instructions on how to make a folder. Okay, so let's go look at how to do that. So I have one here that's my sample, but you simply right click anywhere on your desktop, select new, and then folder. And then we would ask that you please name the folder. This is your folder for your exhibits, the job number, and then the witness's name. And you can use brackets around it to help keep it organized. And then you just hit enter. So that's your folder that you can create on your desktop. Okay. So how are you going to get these exhibits that you're going to be able to download through your folder? To your folder. One of the ways is you can get them through email, and then you could just download them to that folder, navigate to that folder and save them. Or the more popular way is that they will be presented in the chat window in your remote counsel, your remote depo session. Okay, so I have a session running, so I'm going to bring that up so you guys can see how exhibits have been presented. Okay, let me move that over for you. Okay, so here you go. This is what a session would look like. Okay, of course, you guys would be on video. I have my video off on my session, my Zoom session, but you can see the chat window is up. So if you're not sure how to access the chat window, you'll see it at the bottom. The controls for Zoom are going to be at the bottom or at the top, depending on the device that you use. And if you don't see it, there's always going to be a button that says More, and then you'll see Chat. You can also use the keyboard command Alt-H, and that will, bring it up, or it will toggle it, bring up the chat window or make it go away. So you can see that there are exhibits here. So if council has presented exhibits to the Zoom session, then you will see download. You would be able to click on download, and then you would be able to save these to your folder. So let's go ahead and do that. So you just simply click download, and then you're going to want to navigate. You're going to get a save as menu. The save as menu may not be where you need it to be. So you have to navigate back to your desktop. That's why it's convenient to make the folder on your desktop, because typically you're always going to see the desktop option in the save as menu. So then you're going to scroll down. Here's my folder that I created. I'm going to select it, open it, and then I will be able to save it. Okay. And then once it's been downloaded and saved, it'll have a check mark. So that's a really nice feature, because you may not be downloading them, right then and there when they're presented. So on that note, let's talk a little bit about that. When exhibits are presented in the chat window, you may download them if there's a break, or you may wait until the very end of the deposition proceeding. And so you don't want to exit out of the session until you have downloaded all of the exhibits, because if you exit out, they're not saved. So you want to wait, you want to download all of them. Again, just click download, navigate on your desktop to your folder, and you can see, since I already downloaded one, it defaulted back to my folder. It's saying save in, and then I just click save, right? And then that way, before you end out of the session, you'll download all. But if you have already downloaded some, you don't have to worry about wondering whether you downloaded or not, because they'll have that little check mark right next to them. All right, so that is the downloading from the chat window process. Okay, so the instructions that I just, the demonstration I went over, that's right here. Everything in this document outlines that, and we downloaded. And we talked about the chat session. So you make sure important information is that you make sure that you save all the files before you end out. Okay. Now, there is some naming conventions that we would like you to use when you name your exhibits, but we will go over that a little bit later, but I put it throughout the document so that you're reminded. And you guys are going to become experts at renaming files with the stamps and with before you submit them, and also making new files. So if you don't know how to do it, you're going to learn, because there's lots of that renaming and creating folders that's going to be happening. Okay. And then marking the exhibit. So now that you've downloaded, so you've downloaded through the chat window, or you've maybe received them via email, you've downloaded them to your folder. The next step is you're going to be marking those exhibits. So we're going to be going through how to do that with the PDF stamp, electronic PDF stamp, and there's a free method, and then there's a fee-based method. And then there's some other ways too, if they're not electronic, if they're printed, if you want to print them, if they're actual hard copies are sent to you, but we'll review those methods towards the end. Okay. All right, so what we have, let me move this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of the instructions, and then I'm going to demonstrate it. So everybody has a clear understanding. It's a lot of information, but once you understand it and you've done it a few times, you pick your method, then you'll know all about, you'll know more than maybe what you know more about the stamps, okay? All right, so to affix a digital exhibits sticker or stamp, whatever we're going to call them, you have to have either Adobe Acrobat Pro or Reader, the free version, installed on your computer. Some people don't have it installed, and their browser window will open up the Adobe PDF file, but you have to actually have it downloaded. So there is a link here that provides you with the version, the Pro version, and that's about $14.99 a month, or you can pay for the whole year. And then there is the free version, so you just do a Google search for Adobe Acrobat Reader, the free version. I believe DC is the most current version. So you want to have that downloaded to your computer. So that's the first thing. You must have Adobe Acrobat Pro or Reader free version installed on your computer. Then the next thing is you need the stamps. So the stamps are, of course, critical in the next step of accomplishing stamping the exhibit. So there are free stamps and there are stamps that can be purchased, right? So what I've done here is I've been part of Tamara's Steno Hack Facebook group, and she has done a phenomenal job, tireless job of creating stamps and helping people. So we're going to go ahead and just, I'm going to give you a link here. These are the free stamps, okay? She has these on her Facebook group. Okay, so we're going to look at that. So this is where you can go grab some free stamps. And when you go to her group, you'd have to join. And then on the left under Files, you will be able to go, and there's two sets. It's Deposition Exhibit, 3 colors, and Pepper's Yellow Blank Sticker. You can download those. So that's how you can get some free stamps. And I'll be demonstrating one of those today as well. Now the fee-based stamps, and those are again from Tamara, and she is charging, I believe, $25 just for the stamps, and that is a great price for, considering I know how much time she put in to creating these with the, you have to use coding to make them, to create them to do what they are able to do. So you can go to that link on her website from this document when you receive it, and this shows you all the different stickers that you can purchase. So, oh, sorry, the price is $35, and that's for stamps and training, or $10 for training, okay? So you can work with her to see what her pricing is to just, if you just want to get the stamps as well, okay? But she's done a phenomenal job, and it's well worth purchasing those stamps. Now, I've also included some additional, excuse me, additional links from other sites that offer the stamps for sale. But I haven't used any of these, but these are some other resources available to get your stamps. So when you do get your stamps, I'm going to go ahead and minimize here so you can see my folder. You want to make sure you save your stamps, okay? So I have my stamps all saved in a folder. I have a couple folders, and here's some stamps that I've saved. So you absolutely want to save all your stamps. You're going to be using them, you're going to be renaming them, you're going to be adding information. So I highly recommend you save them all, and so that if you mess them up, something goes wrong, you can always go back and make another copy of them. So when you decide which stamps you would like to get, then you will download those stamps and store them in a file, again on your desktop for safekeeping, and then to use them later on. And you can do the same thing. You can make a folder and then download your stamps to that folder, right? So it's kind of like a storage area. Now, as far as configuration goes, because that's really the first step, you have to get the stamp. So you're either getting a free one, you're purchasing them, maybe you get them from one of the other, you found another resource. So you have your stamp, you store them on your computer, and then you want to know that there's also configuration involved. So it's just not as simple. So there's like some one-time configuration that has to be done with these stamps. And then there's also what you need to do to fill in the information and place it into the exhibit. So for configuration, there is, Tamara has a YouTube channel where she offers some video how-tos on how to do that. Okay, I'll be going through it as well, so you'll be able to review this recording and instructions. And there is also the one for the peppers sticker. There is that video as well that takes you through the steps. And then again, for the fee-based, which is through Tamara, she offers sessions, group sessions on the configuration and how to set them up. And again, well worth whatever you might pay for that. Okay. And another note that's important is the stamps only work on PDF formatted documents. So whatever type of exhibit has been presented, if it's a graphic file, a different type of file, a Word document, whatever happens to be out there, if it's not in PDF format, you're going to need to make that document after you downloaded it into a PDF format. And pretty much everybody has the ability with your version, the current versions of Windows, to either save any document as a PDF, or if you don't, you just go to print and you change the printer to Microsoft Print to PDF, right? So that's a process that you'll definitely be using to convert any files to PDF before you affix the stamp. And then you'll also need to use the same method to print to PDF on the free stamp option as the final step. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and also demonstrate this. I'm going to start showing you how to do this with the free and the fee-based system. But keep in mind, whatever I'm showing you or whatever you watch, if you watch these videos, there are several different ways to do this, just like anything with computers and Windows and even your CAT software. So if you're doing it a little bit differently and it's working effectively for you, that's great. There are several different methods. The other thing that you'll want to make sure you know is that for configuration, is that if you are a reporter scheduled for a U.S. legal support job and you would like help, then you can definitely contact Report for USLS at U.S. Legal Support, and you will be able to schedule an appointment with me to do this configuration and setup for you. You, of course, again, will need to make sure you have Adobe Acrobat, free or pro version, and make a decision about which type of stamp you would like, either the free stamp or the fee-based one. So those are the two requirements. And then if you have a job scheduled or you know you're going to be taking jobs soon, you can definitely contact and I will schedule a remote one-on-one session with you. For our U.S. legal support reporters, we also have technical support for the job when you are on a remote depot job through this phone number, and through remote deposition support at uslegalsupport.com. And they can help you test your system and be in preparation for the day of the deposition, the day before. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead then and look at how to do all this with our stamps. Okay. All right. Let me get organized here with this. So this first demonstration will be for the free PDF stamp. Okay, again, I kind of went over the recommendation and requirements. Okay. And suggested, of course, that you have your stamps downloaded to a folder. So for the free stamps, the first thing you do is you go to your stamp folder and then you open up your template. So it's like you have a template and you're going to save that template as an exhibit name. So you always have your template, which can have your template of your stamp, your free one, and you can put in your name. You can put in, I put exhibit 1 in there, and then you're of course going to save it. So let's go look at how that works. Okay, so here's my folder. I have my stamps that I saved, and I have my free one. Okay, so I went in there and I actually already created my exhibit 1. Okay, so here's what it looks like. And so what you can do is you can come in here and you can put exhibit 1 or A, and you can always have that because you're probably always going to have an exhibit 1. And then you can put your name and any other information you want. You can change stenographer to court reporter. So this is kind of your template. And then you would save it as a name. It can be any name you want, exhibit 1, exhibit A, but you need to save it. So consider this your template, and then you do a file, save as, and then you can put it right back there in that folder, or you can make another folder because you're going to end up with extra stamps that you later will need to delete because of all the saving, right? So then I already did one and I named it Exhibit 1. Okay, so let's go look at that one. And so after I saved it, then I can put in the witness name and the date. So you're saving it with just the template information, you're naming it, and then I put in the name of the witness and then the date, and then I'm just simply exit out. So now I have my saved exhibit stamp, and you would need to do that for each stamp for each exhibit. Okay. So we have the exhibit, it's in the folder. Now we're going to go look at how do I get that stamp on the exhibit, okay? And remember, you're doing all this at the end. You're not doing it during the proceedings. You want to do this while you're producing your transcript, right? So we're going to now go to the exhibit folders. Let's go open our exhibit folder again. We have that exhibit folder that we went over in the beginning, and we made that folder. So I'm going to open up my folder, and I'm going to open up an exhibit. Okay, so here is my exhibit. So the first thing you want to do is you have to bring up your stamp on your toolbar. So with the free version, if you're using the free version, you're going to have to open up that stamp tool every time. With the pro version, you can add it and it will be on your toolbar. Your toolbar is over here on the far right. So you can see I have my stamp. This is my stamp. You see it, it's already there because I have the pro version. But if you don't have it there and you have the free version, you will you'll need to go to tools. You'll see up on the menu bar on top, you'll need to go to tools and you'll need to find the stamp and add it. Okay, so you will find it in here even with the free version, and you'll open it and it will add it to your toolbar on the far right. Okay. Once your stamp is added, you just click on it. And when you click on it, you will see the menu, the stamp menu. Now, yours may not have all of those if you have the free version, but you will have stamp, stamps palette, and custom stamps. Okay. So now we're going to look at how do we bring this exhibit stamp once we've brought up the stamp toolbar and the menu. We can go to Stamps Palette, Okay. Now you need to make sure you have dynamic here, right? So there's other choices. If I go to the drop down, it says dynamic. So it must say dynamic, and then you can import. You're going to import, and you would need to do this each time, right? So you're importing into Adobe the stamp that we just saved. So the stamp I saved with the witness name and the date, then we can go to browse, okay? So I'm going to get that exhibit, not my template, but the one that I did fill in all the information. I open it, and there it is. Now I click OK. See, it's got the name. I click OK. Then when you get to this menu, again, you need to change the category to dynamic, and you need to name the stamp again. It can be whatever you want. It can just be 1, 2, EX1, okay? And then you're going to click OK. All right, and I will note that the first time you do that, you'll get another menu that will come up, and it's in my instructions. And it's just a menu that you can cancel out of, and there's a box that says don't show again. Now, since I've done that, I don't get that menu, but you will get this other menu. Click the box that says don't show again and click cancel. So then you won't get that menu anymore. Okay? So now that I've added, okay, I can go and locate my stamp. There it is. Okay. Click once, and then you're just clicking once. You're kind of hovering over, and there's my stamp. Right there it is. I brought it in. I can move it around. I can make it larger. I can make it smaller. I can put it at the bottom, wherever I want to put it. Okay. But there is one more step. So again, we have to save this because this can be moved around. It could be accidentally deleted. So you don't want that to happen. I'm going to go back to my instructions here for a minute. Okay. So we've done all this. We've reviewed. We brought it in. So this last part is where we save. Just like I mentioned that you save, you print to a PDF, right? If you get a exhibit that's not a PDF file, if it's a JPEG or something else, you have to save, print it to a PDF. Well, you have to do the same thing in this last step, and it's called flattening. And flattening is the process of removing separate form data and adding it as text, images, and shapes into an actual PDF data stream. That's a lot of information, right? So what you're doing is you're combining this PDF sticker with your PDF exhibit, so they're one, so that there won't be any problem with anything happening to your exhibit. But they use the term flattening, if that makes sense. So the last step with the free, this is all the free version, is you would do File, Print, and then you can change to Microsoft Print to PDF. If you have Adobe, some of you might have Cute PDF. A lot of court reporters used Cute PDF. And then you simply print that document after you've changed it to the printer. You print it, and then you're going to have to, you can save it then to your exhibit folder. Okay, so let's go back to our exhibit folder, and then I'm going to, you're going to have to name it again. So you can name it at this point. You can name it with the U.S. Legal Naming Convention, which is the job number, the exhibit, word exhibit, and the exhibit number. So for the free version, when you save your PDF file, print to PDF with the stamp on it, name it the job number, the word exhibit, and then the numeric or alpha description of what the exhibit is. And then it will be ready when you're ready to submit it. It'll be all ready to go in the folder. Okay? So that is going to take care of your exhibit. So let's exit that one. Let's go back and look at that exhibit now. Here it is. And you can see it's all one now. So this one is ready to go. This exhibit is ready to go. It is in the folder and it's all ready. So that's the free version, okay? All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at the paid version, the fee-based version, okay? Now this one, with the fee-based version one, again, there's some initial setup where you can get help through Tamara's service that she provides, or again, if you purchase the fee-based stamps, then and you're working with U.S. legal support to do jobs, then I can assist you with that as well. So for the fee-based, the first thing you need to do, and these instructions were actually from Tamara, so she has these available as well. You will need to, again, you can have the free Adobe or the Pro version. So for these stamps, you can again have either version of Adobe Acrobat, and that would need to be downloaded and installed on your computer. So that's nice to be able to use these stamps because you'll see all the cool things that they do, and you won't have to buy the Pro version to do it. Okay. And then you'll also want to make sure that you have your stamps downloaded as well. So the first thing, this is the one-time setup. So you'll see these instructions, and maybe some of you have watched some of Tamara's videos or gone to her webinars. But the first thing is you have to create a stamp folder. And I'm going to demonstrate that. That's using the key on your keyboard, which is the little Windows icon, and the letter R. So you hit that key and the R, and you can see this comes up. This menu comes up. Okay. Then you would paste. What you're pasting in there is this right here. You're pasting, copy and paste the following into that field. So you have to paste this user profile. So when you hit, you have to copy it. Control C is to copy. You hit the window key on your keyboard, you hit R, and you paste it in there, and you click OK. All right. So what that's going to do is it's going to take you to this menu here, and that will come up. All right. So that's a shortcut to get you into Acrobat, where you have to do some more, where you have to create another folder is what you have to do. Because otherwise you're clicking and clicking and trying to get there, and that's a lot easier to use that shortcut. So you're going to see either DC or some version, which is listed in the instructions, another folder. You're going to open up that folder, and then you're going to look for a folder called Stamps. If you don't have a Stamps folder, then you're going to, just like we went over in the beginning of this webinar, you're going to right-click, New, Folder, choose Folder, and then create that Stamps folder. So you'll have it. And that's where you're going to download and store all of your stamps that if you purchase the fee-based stamps, okay, which are customizable as well. All right, so I'm going to exit out of there. So again, that's kind of a one-time, that is a one-time setup. And here are all those instructions that I just went over. One more step I forgot. Very important, you can create a shortcut, right? Because you're going to be accessing that stamps folder, so you don't want to have to go back to it all the time. You want a shortcut on your desktop. So I'm going to go back and go to that folder. So to create a shortcut, there's a few different ways, but if you're able to do it this way, it's the easiest. You right-click on the stamps folder, and then you can choose send to. Sometimes you might not get that menu. You might get this menu, which doesn't have the send to. So just click, come back, right click somewhere else on the stamp folder until you get the menu that gives you send to, and then you should see an option for desktop create shortcut. So that's really nice because then you'll have those custom stamps in their folder they're supposed to be in, but it's a shortcut on your desktop. Okay, so I'm going to exit there and I'm going to show you those stamps. So here it is. Here's mine. Here's my stamps. Okay, and I can open it up and there it is. There's my stamp, right? So this is the one that you would purchase. Okay, so I have my folder and I have my stamp, and I did purchase them myself, so I would have them for this demonstration. Okay, so, and you do not want to rename that shortcut. You want to leave it as it is and make sure you're able to locate it. All right, now the next step we're going to talk about with these, the purchase stamps, is you're going to be able to do some customizing with them. And another one-time setup is that you're going to do this. There's some instructions, customizing, and just to make things easier, and I'm going by Tamara, she's the expert on this. She's put a ton of work into this. So you want to go into your PDF. You can go into your stamp. I believe it should be fine because this is just a setting. And you can go up to the edit menu, go to preferences. So you'll go to edit, and I think you can pretty much do this in any PDF file to set your preferences. And then I'll wait for the menu to come up so you guys can see it. You'll go to generals. So you'll have all these, your preferences menu will come up and you go to general, and then you'll see up at the top, it says basic tools on the right side. It says use single key accelerators to access tools, and it will be unchecked, and you want to go ahead and check that. Okay, so that's another step with the stamps. Okay, then you exit out, and that's a one-time setup to do that. And here's what the stamps look like. We're going to go back into them, but I have a picture of them here. So you can customize these. So just like the free one, you can go in and kind of have like a template, but you get a lot more choices here. And your exhibit number and the date are auto-populated. So that's a really cool feature. You will not enter the witness's name, yet you will, let's see, enter the witness name on the day of the proceedings, okay? Again, consider it your template, okay? And you can always come back to your template file and make changes as well, but you're not ever gonna change the exhibit number or the date. You're not gonna fill that in. You're gonna see how it's gonna auto-populate for you, okay? And they come in a lot of other colors as well. So let's go ahead and look at how we're going to affix these stamps to an exhibit. So unlike the free one, you will need to rename the exhibit. For the number to automatically populate, you're going to be renaming your downloaded exhibit file to the number or letter of the exhibit. Okay, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. And then, of course, before you actually submit it, which we'll go over, you would still need to rename it again to the job number and the word exhibit, and then put it in the exhibit folder. Okay, so let's look at how to do that. Let's look at the exhibit first. I'm going to scroll down. So this is the actual, I'm sorry, the stamp. Let's look at the stamp. So here they are. This file's big, so it takes a minute. Here they are. So what I did is I came into my stamp, and again, you can save it just like I did the other one. You can do a file, save as, and you can, call it whatever you want. Okay. And then you can put in the witness name. Okay, I'm not gonna take that out. You can change if it's plaintiff, defendant. You have these drop downs, which are super cool. You can just change it to exhibit or any of these. Okay. And then you can put your information. There's actual 2 fields where you can put information down there. And then you don't do anything with the date. That will auto-populate, and you don't do anything with the exhibit number. And then you put in the witness name. Okay. So let me go ahead and exit that. All right, so now we're going to go into an exhibit. So your exhibit will need to be called the number or the letter. So you will need to rename it. So if it's not, you'll need to right click, rename. This is how you rename an exhibit. My mouse is not going down. Okay, rename, and then you can call it, 1, 2, whatever it is. Let me do this one here. Two, enter. So that's how easy it is to rename. It's pretty quick. You'll get really good at it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my exhibit here. Okay. So I've renamed it, and I have entered in the witness name in my stamp. I saved my stamp, and I put the witness name in. And I have my other, court reporter information, and then I've gone into the exhibit after renaming it, and then I have to bring up my stamp tool again, right? So if you have the free one or you have the pro one, you'll again see your stamp on your toolbar. So you got to click on your stamp again to get the menu. Okay, so you'll see the menu come up. But this time, because we've done that work, you're just going to go to stamp, and then you're going to go to dynamic. So again, you can see very similar, but different. Okay. All right. So then you'll see when you pull up dynamic, you're going to see your exhibit, your stamp, sorry. And you're going to click again, and then you're going to drag it. And let's try that again. So this can get a little bit tricky. You hover over, click it, and then again, place it wherever you would like it, okay? So now notice that stamp has come in, okay? And it took on the name of the exhibit number. So when you rename it to the exhibit number or letter, the stamp will come in with it automatically populating, and then the date automatically updates from day to day, and then you put in the witness name and then your other information that you had in there in your template from your stamps folder, okay? So again, you are saving from your stamps folder. Let me go back and show that. So it's from this shortcut one is where you're going to save it. So you're going to go into this stamp folder. You can do a save as, name it, and then you can save the information and then load it into the exhibit, bring it in, okay? So a lot of steps, a lot of information I know, but that kind of gives you an overview. I think once you've done it a bunch of times, it's going to get quick and easy, and you'll decide. We went over 2 methods here. So of course you would just be using one method. You might want to start with the free one or the free Adobe and then get the stamps. It just depends on, what your preference is. But again, as you would be able to get help with that. Okay, so I'm going to exit. All right, so then after all of your exhibits have been, a stamp has been affixed to each exhibit, then you will need to submit them via the reporter exhibit Dropbox through U.S. Legal Support. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's make sure we get that done and show you how that works. So again, these are all the instructions of what we just went over. So let me scroll down. All right, so you have to name, again, I'll go through that. Let's name your exhibits. So again, we have our folder, job number, witness name. We open it up, and then we rename the exhibits. Again, right-click, rename the job number, the word exhibit, and the exhibit number. Right, so you just do that to all of the exhibits, and this is at the very end after you have already fixed the stamp. So you'll do that to all of your exhibits. This is the naming convention for exhibits. You'll have them in the folder, and they'll all be, the names will all be changed. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get an invite. Okay, you're going to get an invite from your scheduling department, and let's look at what that looks like. Okay. This is what it looks like, similar to this. And the first time you get this, you will register and you'll do a password, and then you want to bookmark it. So make sure you, the very first time you bookmark it so you can easily go back to your reporter exhibit drop. So there's one for all the different divisions. So you'll only get one for your division. So mine, I have all the divisions for demo purposes, but then to bookmark, you go up to the right corner, and this is in Google Chrome. So if you're using a different browser, it might be a little bit different, but you're just going to click on your star, and then it can go on your bookmarks bar, and then you can call it reporter exhibit drop. And that's all you need to do so that you can easily then find it here on your bookmarks bar and go back to it each time. So here we are. Again, you'll just have the one division, not all of them, after you've received your invite. And then you're gonna, I'm gonna go ahead and go, because I'm in the West. And then because you have already named your folder and you've named your exhibits, all you have to do is click and drag and put your exhibits in there. And then they'll all upload. Just like that. It's pretty easy. And that would be all you have to do, because it's a shared folder online, and your production department will have access to this, and they can come in and grab your exhibits. Okay. Now, if you have a different method that you prefer and you would rather create your own folder in here, again, with the same naming convention, to keep things organized, there's a button that says new, drop down, folder, and then you can name it again. And then it would be created, and you can open it, and then you can upload. There's an upload button up in the corner, and then you can go to files, and again, go to your desktop, locate your exhibits, again, name the proper way, and then you can select a few at a time. You don't need to do them one at a time. You can hold down the shift key and select them as long as they're named with this naming convention. And then you click open, and then they will upload to that folder. So you can manually do it, or you can just simply, in the beginning, create that job folder and put your exhibits in there, and then come back and simply drag in that folder, which I think is a lot easier to do. Okay. All right. So that is that is basically how we're going to submit the exhibits. And then don't forget, in your worksheet and your email, please indicate to production which method you have used for submitting your exhibits. And let's look at some of the other ways that might come up also. If you are emailed the exhibits or they're given to you as a hard copy, right? So there's going to be different scenarios. You may not be doing this electronically like we just went over. You want to do it via printing, and you want to put your traditional sticker on there. You could do that, and then you could request a UPS label from your U.S. Legal office and then call for a pickup from UPS, and you can send them in that way. If you receive them as hard copies by chance, the exhibits, then you can also put your sticker on it, and then you can scan them so that you can submit them electronically, right? So we're pretty sure we have all of our bases covered for you. You can, if you get them emailed, you can download them to the folder. If you get them submitted and presented in the chat window, you can download them and submit electronically. If they come hard copy, you can scan them either with your scanner, and if you don't have a scanner, there's some very cool scanning apps that you can load onto your phone that work really well, and then you can do it electronically or call for a UPS pickup. So I think that covers most of the ways to mark and submit your exhibits. Okay. All right, so let me move on. And again, here's all the instructions that I just went over. All right, so what we're going to look at now is some other recommendations and tips. Okay. So don't forget to create a folder on your desktop with the job number and the witness name where you will put your exhibits. You'll affix your stamp with one of these methods if that's how you want to do it, and then name the exhibit, the job number, the word exhibit, and the designation. And then download all exhibits before you end out of a remote depo session as well. Don't forget that. It's very important because none of them get saved. In that chat window is where you can also have messages back and forth with the council, but none of the exhibit files will be saved. So you get all of those before you end out. And then be sure to request your reporter exhibit drop link. That was what I showed you, the invite. You will register, get a password, bookmark it so that you can quickly and easily going forward just drag your exhibit folder into the reporter exhibit Dropbox. Okay. So, all right, so I thank you all so much for joining us today. Again, if you have questions, you want to set up an appointment as a U.S. Legal reporter to get help with the configuration and information of your stamps, email report4USLS@uslegalsupport.com. And then don't forget to join us for the conversation on StenoLife. That's our Facebook group, and it's a great group, so please join us on StenoLife. With that, we are ending our webinar for today on everything about exhibits, and I appreciate all of you attending, and I hope to see you at our next webinar. We'll let you know what that's going to be. We'll get word out. So everybody have a great day and take care. Bye-bye now.